Jealousy is an intolerance of unfaithfulness or vigilance in maintaining or guarding something. Every human understands jealousy. It reigns in the hearts of carnal man. You fill up your airwaves with soap operas, reality TV shows, and various forms of fiction and fact about jealousy. Proverbs 6:34 says, "For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance." You all understand if you whore around on your husband or wife, it makes him or her jealous. In humans, jealousy is an imperfect passion. In God, it is a perfect attribute, a perfect description of His plan to call out a people for His name and shepherd them to glory. The Apostle Paul said in Romans 10:18-21, speaking about the Jews, "But I say, have they not heard, that is, heard the word of God? Yes, verily, their sound, that is, the prophets, went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. But Isaiah is very bold, and saith, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me. But to Israel he saith, all day long I have stretched forth my hands to a disobedient and gainsaying people." You must know the true history of the Jews to understand what Paul is saying, and to understand that God is going to use the Gentiles to provoke the Jews to jealousy in the last days. You can read their history throughout the Scriptures. All of Moses' words, Psalm 78, Psalm 106, Nehemiah 9, Ezekiel 20, Daniel 9, Acts 7, and Romans 9-11 are just a few examples. It is a blessedly simple story, and here it is. Of all the people in the world, hundreds of billions have crossed this globe. God chose Abraham and called him out of a heathen nation and manner of life. He gave him 2 sons, one God hated, Ishmael, and one God loved, Isaac. Then he gave Isaac 2 sons, one God hated, Esau, and one God loved, Jacob. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of nations, that is, God's elect. In the line of Abraham would Christ take the form of man, and his seed would be blessed forever. Then God set about to illustrate through a group of people who are called a walking similitude, the house of Jacob, how he sanctifies people, reposes his good statutes and commandments in them, and expects them to obey. Just as God promised, he made a nation of Abraham's seed and brought them out of Egypt, where they had been in fierce bondage for 400 years. Even the selfsame day it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt, Exodus 12:41. He brought them out with a strong hand and a stretched out arm, Jeremiah 32:21, with great miracles and blessings. And from that point on, they rebelled, they murmured, they refused to obey. Except for those few Jews who were the elect of God, such as Moses, Aaron, Caleb, and Joshua, the Jews refused to obey. God promised them land. They balked, they whined, they dragged their butts, and never fully followed the Lord's commandments about taking the land and rooting out the heathen and their filthy ways. Yet God, for His sake and His glory, was long-suffering and had great mercy on them, delivering them from many enemies and still bringing them into the land. God told them when they settled in the land not to worship the false gods of the heathen nations round about. It was proving ground, plunking them right down in the midst of those heathen nations, and they failed. He told them if they whored around with other gods, they would provoke him to jealousy, but they did it anyway. For thou shalt worship no other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God, Exodus 34:14. Further, for the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God, Deuteronomy 4:24. Rather than be thankful that God was jealous for their sakes, they forsook his covenant, threw down his altars, and slew his prophets with the swords, 1 Kings 19:10. They provoked him to anger with their high places and moved him to jealousy with their graven images, Psalm 78:58. So God spewed them out of the land and scattered them among the nations. But he promised, even as he did so, that he would return to them, saying, Now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. Ezekiel 39:25. The angel that communed with the prophet Zechariah said, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy. Zechariah 1:14. And in the last book of the Old Testament, God said through his servant Malachi, For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Malachi 3:6. God is going to renew his covenant with his people for his glory. He is going to call out from among the Jews a very small remnant, by name and by tribe, and sanctify and seal them. The lying whore, false prophet rabbis should be telling you these words. They are the words of the Jewish prophets of old, and they permeate the scriptures, including both testaments. Paul understood that God would use the Gentiles to provoke the righteous Jews to jealousy, and that is what Paul is talking about in Romans 9, 10, and 11. Just as blessed Jews like Anna and Simeon watched for Christ and saw his day the first time he came to this earth, the righteous Jews of today will watch for Christ's return in power and glory to punish the disobedient. We, the obedient Gentiles at Westboro Baptist Church, will provoke you to jealousy, so you will watch for that day. Now watch the next Jews News to hear more details about how that will happen and what that will look like. You Jews who fear and obey God, come forth and be prepared for your hearts to burn with jealousy and rejoice.